I'm Umbreon Libris. Crown Tundra will be out in a week, and I can't decide if I'm excited for it or not. I think there is a lot to be excited for, but there's also a lot of reasons for me to temper my expectations. To be clear, I've looked at all of the official announcements, but I haven't looked at any of the leaks or data mines or whatever it is that there's been. I don't know all of the Pokemon that are coming back, and I don't know if there's going to be any new Pokemon besides the ones that we already know about. Which are actually quite a few. There's Calyrex and the 2 new Regis as totally new Pokemon, as well as the Galarian forms of the Kanto Birds and Slowking. That's 7, which is already 3 more than what we got in Isle of Armor. I hope there will be more, but I'm not expecting it. I think the main thing that is holding back my excitement for Crown Tundra is actually Isle of Armor. The marketing for Crown Tundra so far has given me the impression of it being much bigger than Isle of Armor, and I mean that both in terms of the space itself and in terms of how much there is to do in Crown Tundra. But I had also gotten the impression that Isle of Armor would be much bigger than it turned out to be in the end. So Crown Tundra might be bigger, but what does that really mean? Dynamax Adventures does sound like an interesting challenge to do with friends, and I'm sure I will have some fun with that, but whether that becomes something that I can continue doing long term is really hard to say. I enjoyed the standard max raids a lot when I first did them, but eventually they got pretty stale. The way that max raid events made it so that you were basically fighting the same few Pokemon for days made the whole experience really repetitive, and so now I pretty much only do it when I need experience candy or something. So if Dynamax Adventures turns out to only consist of raids and not add a new spin to make them more fun, I doubt I will spend much time on them. I know you have to use rental Pokemon and you have to manage how you change up your team, which does add to the challenge of it, but doesn't necessarily also make it more fun. And Dynamax Adventures, and really Crown Tundra as a whole, seems to have a pretty heavy focus on legendary Pokemon, and I'm tired of legendary Pokemon. Jeez. New ones too, but especially the old ones that have appeared over and over and over again. Lugia was super cool back in Generation 2, and it had a great role in Pokemon XD, but nowadays, I'm over it. That's also the reason I'm iffy on the competitive scene once the new Pokemon enter rotation. Specifically ranked doubles, since that's all that I play. So far, I think they've done a good job of keeping the format fresh, adding and removing Pokemon from the eligibility list every couple of months or so. But Crown Tundra will put a ton of legendary Pokemon into rotation, and we don't know exactly how they're going to be handled, but they will probably show up on a lot more teams. And I just don't like battling with legendary Pokemon. I know that this is more of a me problem than a competitive Pokemon problem, but if I'm going to dedicate the time to breed and raise a totally new Pokemon, it's going to be one that I like. But a lot of the Pokemon that I like don't have the stats to compete with legendary Pokemon, and so I prefer formats where they're less relevant. I do see some positive things coming though, like the ability patch, which unlocks a Pokemon's hidden ability, meaning I don't have to rebreed for a Pokemon that I already have. And maybe there will be other new items that make it easier to prepare a competitive Pokemon and lower the barrier for entry, which I think would be great. The Galarian Star Tournament is another thing that I'm cautiously interested in. I'm guessing that this is like the Crown Tundra equivalent of restricted sparring from Isle of Armor, so it's another take on the competitive-like game mode. The thing is that restricted sparring turned out to be a little too restricted for me. Like, the format seemed interesting and I'm sure I would have had a lot of fun with it when I was a kid, but I just don't have very much spare time and I don't want to spend my time making 18 different teams. And the rewards were too lackluster to attract me. I never finished it, but according to Bulbapedia, all you get are battle points and a t-shirt for completing it with every single type. What? Not even a real t-shirt.
Aww.
I hope the Galarian Star Tournament will be more the kind of thing that I actually want to put time and effort into. Multi-battles can be a lot of fun, so I'm not worried about that, but the rewards and the experience as a whole have to be worth it. Of course, the big reason I will be playing Crown Tundra is for the plot, whatever bit of story they introduce, and that seems promising. One of the big flaws of world building in Galar is how disconnected it felt from the rest of the Pokemon world, and Crown Tundra could fix that. At the very least, we have to account for the existence of Galarian Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres, which should tie in with the lore from Kanto, and the existence of Regieleki and Regidrago, which should tie in with the lore from Hoenn or Sinnoh, if not not both. Or at least I hope so, because it's not like there were no opportunities to reference older games within Sword and Shield, and those references didn't happen, so who's to say they're gonna happen now? Even if we don't get an in-depth exploration of cross-generational lore though, the story could still be good. Sonia is supposed to be researching over there. We need to learn more about Peony. There's a lot to wonder about that big cathedral or the Gigantamax berry tree or whatever it is. But it would have to be much better than the story we got in Isle of Armor for it to be satisfactory. That was way too shallow. Like, if Sonia's role in Crown Tundra is roughly the same as Hop's role in Isle of Armor, just not gonna be enough. In all, I think Crown Tundra looks very promising, but so did Isle of Armor, and that was, overall, pretty disappointing.
Except for the following Pokemon, right?
I've seen some buzz and people whose opinions I trust being excited for it, so I have hope, but I'm keeping my expectations down. Either way, we'll find out within a week. Let me know how excited you are about Crown Tundra. Just make sure not to put any spoilers in the comments, especially if you have seen the leaks or data mines or whatever. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons for all of their incredible support, especially luxury patron Ethan from Chicago. I'm Umbreon Libris. I'll see you in the next chapter.